we decided that at 500 likes, we would make a video if we got 500 likes. We got there, so...
Here it is.
Here it is. All right. What we're going to talk about is QUETZACOATLUS. That's how you pronounce it, right?
QUETZACOATLUS.
QUETZACOATLUS.
QUETZACOATLUS, that's right. So if you imagine, because it's named after an Aztecian feathered serpent god...
Is it Aztec or Aztecian?
Oh, either way. I don't know. I like ancient megafauna, not ancient civilizations. I'm not a professional.
Yeah, you're not a historian, are you?
No, not at all. But yeah, it's QUETZACOATLUS. So you imagine it with a bit of a Latino lilt. It's just about spot on.
Okay. QUETZACOATLUS.
QUETZACOATLUS.
Right, whatever. Next.
Right. So
Next
yeah,
point.
pretty much the largest flying creature we've ever known ever to exist. Ridiculously large wingspan, somewhere between 11 and 13 meters across, which is huge. Probably about the same in length.
In length as well?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Extremely long neck and beak.
It has a huge head, doesn't it?
Huge head, about 2 or 3 meters long. Just a gigantic beast. And this thing, it flew. It's bigger than some small airplanes in regards to the width of its wings and its length, but it flew.
It's about the size of a giraffe, isn't it?
When I was on all fours, and it was the way it moved, it was quadrupedic, quadrupedal. It would move on all fours, and it was they reckon it hunted on the ground. All evidence points towards that, and its locomotion was interesting. If you imagine the way a giraffe moves, it's probably how it walked, sort of an undulating sort of movement.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah. So you sort of imagine its legs moving like that. So it stood about as tall as a giraffe when it was on the ground.
Yeah, that's insane. That something that big could fly, could take off. I have no idea. Maybe it gallops and then launches or something.
Well, that's another thought, is that they'd push. They'd really strong muscles that actually sort of push themselves into the air using their wings and leap, and they'd glide out. And they reckon that there were some early models that are sort of in dispute now, but they were thinking that this thing could fly for weeks at a time, for about 7 days in a row, fly for about 15,000 kilometres at about 80 kilometres per hour.
Like it's sort of albatross style, long distance flight.
Yeah. So it'd basically glide around looking for carrion and other things to eat. There were these massive sauropods around at the time called, I forget what they're called, but these massive sauropods lived around the same time. Their base would have been excellent, food source. Once one died, it would have fed them for ages. Very similar to there's a stork in Africa that basically does the same thing.
Yeah.
With dead bison and stuff. So yeah, just a really interesting animal. It survived for quite a long time and massive. If you imagine, if you walk outside, if you went to a zoo and you went to an enclosure and you've seen a giraffe.
Yeah.
Giraffes are massive, extremely tall. It's they're mind-blowing just seeing them in real life. You imagine instead of a giraffe, it's this bird-looking thing with a massive long beak. It's got like this really sort of almost like wiry hair covering a lot of its body to help with insulation.
We'll talk about that hair stuff in a minute.
Yeah. Its beak, it looks like it could snap you in half and swallow you whole. It's just this gigantic animal.
Now, I'm pretty sure that larger airplanes, like these super jumbo size things, the larger they get, the more fuel efficient they are per passenger. So I wonder if there's a big advantage for energy-wise for a larger animal flying longer distances. There might be some sort of payoff. But we didn't look into that. But by the way, we are not scientists. We're not biologists, not archaeologists. We have a big interest in science. We're just geeks. And,
absolute amateurs. Yeah, we
amateurs.
have no background in education or background even learning this sort of stuff from a university or something like that. We're just looking up information on Wikipedia, looking at other facts and where this information comes from. That's all we're really doing. And
we are lifetime fans of this sort of thing. We were just talking before about this picture book we had, which had ancient megafauna in it, and it was a pop-out book when we were very small. We're brothers, and that sort of stuff. We've always been really into it. But we may get paleontologists, scientists, in the future and interview them if possible. and see where that
We'd
goes.
love to, yeah. We'll sort of see how we go. I mean, so we'll get some people that actually know what they're talking about on here. So instead of just fanboys who are gushing about the stuff, we'll have people that actually know what they're talking about.
We try to be as accurate as possible. We're not going to spin you any bullshit. We're only going to give you information that we found from reliable sources, relatively reliable sources. So
And
it's all pretty solid stuff.
And feel free to mention if we're wrong. If you know of something that we've got incorrectly, and you can show us a source to it, please do, and we'll correct ourselves happily.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of that. That's a bit of a tangent. But good we talked about it now, I guess. The hair things. It's not. These are not birds. They're not really dinosaurs.
They're not dinosaurs.
They're not dinosaurs. They're not mammals. So they don't have hair. They don't have feathers. They have something else. So there was these pterosaurs have something that's functionally the same as, say, feathers or fur in keeping them warm, maybe dry or whatever. But these are endothermic creatures.
That's right.
Warm-blooded. And they need to control their temperature a bit. And they had this fur-type stuff. What was it called?
I can't remember now.
Can't remember. Pico...
Pico fibers?
Pico fibers, something like that.
Pico fibers?
Pycno
fibers. It was pycno fibers.
Pycno fibers.
So pycno fibers, and they're interesting because if you look at mammals, so mammals evolved to have fur, so they adapted to regulate their body temperature by keeping themselves warm with fur. That's why they have fur.
Like us.
Like us, exactly right. Very furry. Whereas dinosaurs did the same thing, but eventually they had avian dinosaurs that became birds. Their feathers developed to become, part of their flight mechanism, so it assisted them in their aerodynamics and kept them afloat. Whereas pterosaurs, like QUETZACOATLUS, they were sort of in between, so they developed these pycnofibers, these fur-like fibrous stuff on their skin, not to help them with their flight, but to just keep them warm. So they were more mammalian in that regard. They developed this, they evolved this trait to keep them warm, and that's it. Whereas dinosaurs eventually start off as a heat regulation thing. It eventually turned into something that helped them fly. So it's very interesting that they evolved this, separately to the other sort of groups.
Yeah. So imagine. So QUETZACOATLUS, something the size of a small plane, the length of a bus or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Something's about 10 meters long. Yeah, it's huge.
Flying along, snapping your shit.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Just probably breaking you in half and just about swallowing you whole as it flips up in the air. Imagine a bird, the way a bird eats, flesh. It'd throw its head back and swallow you down. Its gullet like a duck. Just a brutal thing. So awesome.
Yeah.
It's a shame nothing like that exists now, I think. Could just be amazing to see.
Tinkerbell can't fly.
She's not a megafauna.
She tries. But she fails.
But she's very cute.
Yeah.
And it's actually an adaptation of its own. But anyway.
Yeah. maybe another day. Being cute is an evolutionary trait.
Yes.
Anyway.
I mean, otherwise, mechanically, it's the same as other pterosaurs. The way it flies, as far as we're aware, even though we're not still quite sure how pterosaurs really flew, the exact mechanics of their flight, you assume based on its the way it looks, the way it's been developed, that it worked the same way. But it's just the sheer size of the thing absolutely blows your mind. Another random fact, actually. So with pterosaurs, their wings are basically made of like membranous tissue. There's a few different layers. They think they're not quite sure exactly what they were made of. There's quite a few layers that make up the skin that make up the wing. But as you might see, they have like claws sticking at the top in the middle of their wing. It's because their pinky, the last digit on their hand, extends out to make the frame of the wing. So it's extremely long pinky bone, basically. But the QUETZACOATLUS had a massive one, so it was about 3 or 4 meters long, their pinky bone. Just the bone for the pinky. Massive. This is put into perspective how ridiculous this thing was. I suppose it's a good point to end on. But yeah, just an amazing creature, and something that ate other animals on land. Didn't scoop up fish in the sea like some people thought, or anything like that. It flew down and either hunt down smaller animals on the ground or eat carrion. Just a big, awesome beast.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's end it there.
Cool.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for following the page and liking the stuff. Please continue. Tell your friends. Tell everyone. If you like the video, let us know as well. It might be shit. We don't know. But we're just giving it a go. We're seeing how it goes. And we'll continue the YouTube channel as well if we get a nice response.
Yeah. So if you liked it, subscribe, share the video, like the Facebook page if you haven't already. All the links should be below in the description. And you'll see us again. Cheers.